Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a name that us as fellow nerds have always held in high esteem. That is, unless that name is also connected to Square Enix. Now, me, like a lot of other fans of Marvel properties, originally was very excited when they heard that Square Enix was going to take over making non-Spider-Man Marvel games. But after a failed launch Avengers game, let's say bad reviews, people like myself thought maybe a Guardians of the Galaxy game might get screwed up too. You know, you already have the heavy hitters in the Avengers that have fallen. How are you going to make a game similar to that but make it better? And I'm here to say that they have done a fantastic job on their comeback story. My name is Josh, and this is Coffee Break Reviews. Now, to give a little backstory, this game does not really have anything to do with the movies. Before this game takes place, there has been a massive galactic war between Thanos, his armies, and the united forces of the Nova Corps, of the Ravengers, of random space elements that all have taken place before this game even kicks off. And the establishment of the Guardians of the Galaxy come from that war. So they all kind of met doing random things in that war, and now they're a team, but they're not really a family yet. So this game takes place shortly after they begin to take up the mantle as like heroes for hire. A quick summary of this game, I would say the Guardians get caught in a restricted area of space and must pay off a large bounty before they lose access to their ship. Now that sounds like the plot of a stoner comedy, and I don't think that I wanted anything other than that as the kicking off point for this game. With a plot that is as simple as this, you kind of have to engage your players from the get-go and make them get through the opening stages that are kind of low stakes. And this game does that by giving you just the most incredible looking landscapes and really fun level design to traverse as the titular character of Star-Lord. This game is completely played from his perspective, and I wasn't sure if I wanted that. I thought it would be kind of cool if you could switch between the different Guardians, but after playing through the entire game, the decision to lock in to kind of the lead man of the Guardians is a really, really smart move. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, the locations in this game are a kind of a mixture of things that you know as a movie fan or you don't know as a movie fan. For instance, nowhere appears in some capacity in this game, but it's not exactly the way you see it in the movies. There's a really cool level where you get to kind of like walk around and you get to see the shops, and there's little mini games you can play as you walk through the marketplaces on Nowhere. Other places are comic accurate that we haven't seen as movie viewers yet, and those places are also very cool. In fact, I would argue that they're some of the most important parts of this game. Every level at the end, I was always thinking, where is this going to go next? Because I didn't look at any like reviews or how many levels there were as I was playing the game. So whenever they would be like, here's this thing, we're gonna go get this thing, I'd be like, I know that from the comics. Like, that's a cool thing. I didn't think they'd add that in. And at every step, it seems like Square Enix learned from their mistakes, gave more level variety, gave access to locations that were incredibly diverse. In the review, I'm going to be showing mostly footage from the first level, maybe first two levels. Because again, it's really interesting to see where this game goes and how it kind of just like, it feels scattershot until you get to go play through it again. You never really know where you're gonna go. It's really exciting in that way. So I'm not gonna spoil any locations because they're all so interesting to experience for the first time. Other than this one, the attention to detail in this game is really, really, really daggum good. I can't explain how often I'd be sidetracked by looking into the distance at some distant thing, or how often I'd be, observing the lush wildlife on these planets, like whether there's plants, is there an alien here? Is there a small location I can squeeze through that might have a collectible of some sort? The levels, even though they're linear, feel very open. There's a level later on when you're in an ice planet, And the attention to details of the bubbles rising and freezing. As a sci-fi nerd, I really like that they added some of that like weird, hard sci-fi, even in areas that they didn't need to, because, you know, someone's just gonna run over this place. It's a frozen lake. But they do the utmost in making it look very cool no matter where you are. Now, a game can be pretty, but the important thing is what fills your world. And in this game, I have to tell you that the characters are almost the definitive versions in my mind now, after I've come out of this game. Now, hold on, I know what you're saying is, no, there is no way you can beat the characters from the movies. They're all so good, they're all part of multi-billion-dollar franchises, they're staples. And I have to tell you this game will tug on your heartstrings the same way those movies do. Every character goes from being their own selfish character, doing their own thing for their own paycheck, and they're not really sold on the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing. They go from that, through the game, they become a family. And it's kind of the same process that happens in the first two movies, rolled into one game. And you get to see these characters really bond together and face fears that they didn't know they had and share things about their pasts that they wouldn't have originally shared. And it's just really, really, really nice to see these things. If you've watched my video on Horizon Forbidden West, you know how important character conversations are for me. And you don't even have to say anything. Star-Lord will just be in a conversation or around a conversation between different characters that feels so organic and so fun that I just wanted to replay them again, or I wanted to take videos and like show them to my friends. Like, did you get this line? Did you find these things? Because they're all kind of missable. And there is an option occasionally where you can chime in as Peter Quill and kind of further a conversation in some direction. So if like Gamora and Rocket are having an argument, you have the option sometimes to side with Gamora or side with Rocket. And those will have long-lasting effects in the way those characters will perceive you in the future. So if you make Rocket angry, he'll be kind of pissy with you for the rest of the game, or for a couple of levels. Or if you sided with Rocket, then Gamora will like kind of be like upset that you didn't see the grander picture of the thing, or you wanted to blow this thing up instead of doing it the stealthy way. All of these conversations always feel like they're meaningful, and they always feel like they move forward the emotional ties you have with these characters. You're always learning something new about them. You're always kind of figuring things out. And no character is done better than Drax the Destroyer. I think that Drax the Destroyer is the best version of Drax that I've seen in a moving animation. In the movies, he's fine. He's very literal. He's very, it's funny for people because he doesn't get the joke all the time, or he goes on with the joke, and it's great. But in this game, I actually felt more attached to him than I do. Like, sometimes I get annoyed with the version from the movies. But this version, I actually wanted to hear things that he would say, because he was always very excited about fighting. He was always really happy about being part of the team. He would be bluntly honest, but like not in an annoying way. And his growth in this game is so pertinent, and you feel it so much that he just kind of like attaches to you. Like, he's just something I took out of this game that I didn't think I would. I'm not a huge Drax fan. Now I really am. I really like Drax. And I would argue that he might be my favorite Guardian coming out of this game, other than Peter Quill, because I really do enjoy Peter Quill in this game. I don't think he's better than Chris Pratt's version, but I do think that he does some things better than the Chris Pratt version, and allowing me to kind of create my version of Star-Lord through dialogue really made me feel like I was leading this specific team of Guardians. One thing that this game does that really makes you feel like you're in control is there is many outfits that you can find throughout the course of this game. They're, for the most part, very cool or really weird. And you can go through many versions of these characters. Everyone's team can look different by the end of the game. You and your friend could have a completely different looking Guardians team that make them feel like you are leading your own version. It really makes it personal. It makes it fun to watch. This game also introduces me to an absolute smoke show Lady Hellbender. Guys, I didn't think that women could look like this. So imagine my surprise when she comes sauntering in, all 7 feet tall, yoked out of her mind. I mean, seriously, she's got arms the size of my neck. She's got legs the size of my whole body. Let me tell you something. If you find a woman that can beat you in an arm wrestle, then you found yourself a wife. Now, I'm all for strong and independent women. But are you strong and independent enough to live in a forest and fight fucking bears? Lady Hellbender is that woman. Okay? Now, I know I've got a type. Alright? I like my women like I like my smoothies. Thick and full of protein. Alright, let's get back to the game. Now, those are all the things I thought were really good. I really like the story of this game. I find it, even though it starts from a very simple beginning, it spirals into a galactic conflict. And it does that in such a beautiful and artistic way that I never felt like it was just people throwing darts, and it really felt like the people writing this game really cared about the source material. I really like the locations of this game. And then lastly, the things I wanted to bring up and the things I really liked was the characters are also fantastic. I cannot explain how good it is to see multiple characters done well. Now, the things that you have to kind of grow into is the combat. And at the beginning, it really kind of feels hectic and confusing. There is so much just running and punching and almost dying that it doesn't really feel fun at the beginning. But as the game goes on, you start to begin to unlock different characters' special abilities, and then more special abilities and more special abilities. So, you know, the way you fight at the beginning is so drastically different than the way you fight at the end. And the developers do this by really allowing the characters to feel like they're bonding through their fights and through the levels. So in the first levels, it kind of feels like everyone's doing it on their own. But as you get to the end of the game, Drax and Gamora will like batter a guy back and forth with each other. Or you can link abilities to each other where Peter Quill will pull out his guns and then shoot a heavy shot, and then Drax will grab the guy in midair and slam him to the ground. It always feels like they're bonding, even in the combat. And it really feels gross at the beginning, but I have to explain that it will grow on you. Now, that's the only thing I really didn't like about the game was the intro level combat. But again, it does get better. Now, to kind of summarize this whole thing, Square Enix feels like they have completely turned over a new leaf. If you've been burned by Square Enix on their version of Tomb Raider, or if you've been burned by the Avengers that came out a while back, I think that you should really give them another shot here. The Guardians of the Galaxy is a well-made game. It never feels like they're trying to pull money out of you. It doesn't feel old at any point. And this game made me want to replay it as soon as I got done with the end credits. It's that good. So I'm going to have to give this game an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to be notified of future posts. I think I've decided that I'm going to try to do 2 videos a month. That might be more or less depending on what news is in the world of gaming or reviews. But I would love to hear what you guys might want to see me review in the future, and maybe I'll do more videos depending on if we really want to see something come up, or if you want to see a series happen. Between posts, I do have a podcast that drops every Monday and Wednesday, which I'll link in the description below. I have been Josh. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.